Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Very special day today because I received this last night. This is the manufacturer's prototype, which should be articulated. We'll be able to see articulation of the Tales of Rabbavania Rabbit Knight action figures. They are here, and I resisted opening them last night. So I resisted opening them so that we could take a look at them together here. So I have no idea what's inside. I mean, I've seen the video that they sent me that I've also put out here on the morning grind, but beyond that, I don't know. So good morning, BGD. Good to see you. Stray, good to see you as well. Andrew, good morning. Doing chores, but had to jump in to see Sir Bors. Yeah, Sir. Sir Bors would be in here. There might be enough parts to make all three knights. Sir Bors, Sir Jason, and Sir Merrick. We will see. Glad to have you. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing today. And I've got other videos that I used to have when I thought it was a good idea to do a dedicated action figure channel that I need to put back on this channel that have to do with the development of the action figures from where up until this point. like on the lookbook and things like this. I don't know how long this unboxing is going to take, but if it doesn't take all that long, I'm going to show the information on the lookbook and show you the lookbook. And that was like the first step toward creating the action figures. And then I'll be bringing those out, those videos out over the next, I don't know, days, couple weeks, whatever, to catch us up on where we are on the channel as we are right here. All right. Oh, we need to sip and breathe. I need that. I'm excited. All right. I need to update the morning messages. This will be the last Friday for the Cultists, because we're going to be taking a look at the season finale this Friday, and then also the blooper reel and also a deleted scenes video. We've got all three of those this Friday, and then we'll have the after party. Then we'll be moving on. So this will be the last last week of morning messages with that in it. But then also, I've got everything I need to put in the sponsor, but except for another email, I guess some clarifications. So I don't know. So I got what I got, and then we will move into it. Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, new episodes of The Cultists Season 2 are premiering. It's our comedy web show about modern-day Lovecraftian cultists just trying to worship Cthulhu in a world full of people who don't understand.
Fish are friends, not food.
I'm a little worried about Rob.
Yes, it's happening.
Ever since we tried to summon Cthulhu, he hasn't been the same.
I'm growing gills. Gills! My transformation into a deep one has finally begun.
Rob, we don't see any gills.
It's these kids getting involved in all this stuff causes them to go crazy.
There's a live after party after every show with me, Heath. I'm the creator, co-writer, and producer of the show. I also play Steve, and other members of the cast and crew. Catch those live or on replay. If you need to catch up on the Cultist show, both Season 1 and Season 2 are on my YouTube channel. Just go to the playlist. Each episode is about 5 to 7 minutes long. We've also developed a social deduction and miniature game based on the Cultists that we want to launch on GameFound. Check this out. Ready for a Cthulhu Cultist party game of spellcasting and betrayal? Welcome to Ritual.
This is just our gaming group.
Indeed, but your gaming group is all you need to delve into the madness-inducing rituals necessary to summon Cthulhu. Click the link below to visit the GameFound page, follow the project, and learn more.
You've not been further compromised by the Yellow King, have you?
Check out the GameFound page for more about the game and for a brief rundown on how to play. When you follow the game on GameFound, you can get updates about the game's development before the project goes live. And you'll get a free Rob, High Priest of Dagon miniature in battle pose if you decide to back the game when the campaign goes live. There is even an opportunity to get an advanced copy of the rules and participate in the playtest for rules review. We'd like everyone who's a fan of the Cultists to be involved. You can get all of the links you need in the chat or in the description below. The Morning Grind is brought to you by Ravenkeep. That's the company that I set up to publish the things that we are making here on the show. Check out ravenkeep.net. You'll find merchandise from the Cultists, such as mugs and coffee, as well as board games, the Goodnight Sword ebook, and the Terra Tiles pre-order. Terra Tiles are the terrain system that my brother and I developed that I'm currently re-releasing. Terra Tiles are the easiest way to get great-looking terrain on your table. They are bright and colorful and ready to play right out of the box. There's nothing to print, paint, or assemble, and Terra Tiles are large, thick, and durable, being 9 inches from point to point. That's large enough to make setting them up quick and easy, while also being the perfect size to create really varied and organic-looking terrain setups for your table. This reprint is being produced in very limited numbers, so if you want one, you need to put in a pre-order so a box will get your name put on it. The holidays can be a lot. Okay, I've also got to, we'll take a look at the holiday giveaway at the end here. I went to this post office with more stuff yesterday. The Sky Sled's been claimed as well. I noticed this morning, so I got to take that off of the spreadsheet. But if you need some help with holiday gifts this Christmas, check the links below. You'll be able to get to the spreadsheet for all the items that are available, and then also the item request form. I may end up taking the rest of the items to Toys for Tots later this week. So, good morning, Sam. Good morning. Good morning, Retro Nerd Girl. So glad to have you. And then also, Matt's here. Good morning. Good morning. Big day. Oh, and oh, yep. Good morning, retro RNG, retro nerd girl. Yep. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Well, let's go over here. Let me pull up auxiliary camera, and let's actually get into this and see what's going on here. There we go. All right. Probably cut it with the bubble wrap. Not all that exciting. I hope we got Gold Star here as well. Gold Star's here. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. All right. This was supposed to arrive on Thursday, and there was something weird that went on. I think their driver didn't get down in here because I wasn't closed because this is my house. But made me worry. All right. Had to reschedule it, but it did finally get here. I was waiting for the guy. I was refreshing the map that showed where the DHL driver was. So I was standing right out there ready for him. Okay, so it's in Tupperware. So many people have worked so hard to get this to this point. You know, of course I designed it. Brianna had been working on a lot of the packaging for this, the design of the package for these. Adrian Melton has sculpted it. Adam Botsford was the one who did the concept art for this. Oh, and Inner Light's here. Good morning, Inner Light. Good morning. It's all right. Glad you're here. Not to mention everybody at the manufacturer. There we go. Trying to, oh, well, not the 3D printers. Thunderbolt. Oh, God, that's in there. The 3D printer who 3D printed all of those. This is lots of people here who were involved. Oh, here is Adrian. Excellent. Oh, you know, I was going to tag. How did you? I'm so glad that you found this because I was going to tag you and Adam as well on this and on the other one when it posted on YouTube, but I didn't get to yet. So, okay, so Adrian's here. Our sculptor is here. All right, so we've got the weapons here. Oh, we got tons. Oh, so this unboxing may take a little while. So we're going piece by piece here. Wrapped up in toilet paper. And this is not going to be colored. This is not going to be colored. Because all this is we are, at this point, checking out the fit, the articulation of everything, and then also the materials. Because we've got two different types of materials in here. And then the next step will be to, if these are all approved, to get together all the color palette. And I already know how this will be colored because I've painted them. But we're not worried about color now. Whoa. Okay, ears. Because these ears are interchangeable. And they're going to be able to roll around on the ball joint, right? So we got ears. Oh, nothing in there. I want to make sure I don't lose anything. Those swords and axes look great. Yeah, I want to look at these. You know, that was important to me when I was doing the design here, that Rabavania isn't over-the-top fantasy world. You know, it's a fantasy world, but I want it to be highly grounded in about the 13th century medieval Europe. And so I didn't want, they don't have gigantic swords. They don't have, over the top weapons or anything like that. So I wanted them to have really realistic and grounded looking weapons. And so that's how they came out. And I'm very happy about that. I like fantasy, but I like real fantasy. Alternate ears. So there should be like 3 different types of ears. We got ear standing straight up. We got ear. This is a slightly curved ear. And then this one is kind of a flopped over ear. Got a question for Adrian about how these are sculpted in a physical medium or STL or some 3D pattern. And Adrian is saying Maya and ZBrush, mostly ZBrush for these. And a cool shield too. Yeah, thank you. That one is, that one's Merrick's shield. That one's Merrick's. What's in here? Like I said, this has taken about 18 months to get to this point. Okay, these are, we got, see, 2 different materials here. These are the front of the male hauberk that the knight is wearing. Let me show you on my static prototype over here, because this was a change. This was a change Adrian and I made after we had gotten to this point. Because this is a little bit of an earlier look. We're very close to this, but this is a little bit earlier. This part right here, obviously, we called this the skirt, but really what it is this is the bottom part of his surcoat and also his male hauberk that he's wearing. But this is his belt through down here is a separate piece. But this does make it rather hard to articulate him into a great battle pose, and it especially makes it difficult if he's going to ride something. And I would love for them to be able to ride something someday. So we changed up the look of this here so that there'll be a plug that puts the male in there. And so we've got 2 different plugs here. This one will be for just standing up or infantry combat. And then you go over here and there'll be a shorter one that you'll be able to plug in if he's riding something. So if he gets a mount, he'll be able to have that. But this is flexible. So this right here, I think this is just an example of it in the hard plastic right here. But here we've got the material that this will actually be. And as you can see, that's soft so that it won't get in the way when you're trying to pose him or when you're trying to get him sitting on his mount or something like that. So safely put him over here. VGD says, grounded indeed. Me too. Most of my medieval fantasy RPG homebrew is based in Western Europe from about 1150 to 1350. That's a good time period. That's a good time period. I still really like the 14th century. We have something that broke a little bit. I'll have to re-glue it. Okay, so we've got paws here. Okay, let me set this down because it's broken and I'm going to have to fix it. But you can see we got the paw and we've got articulation. So this right here, we've got the ball, or it's actually disc that's inside that paw that allows that rotation. So this is gun hand. So you can see that he can move his wrist in that direction in order to pose him in this direction. You have to have another hand to pose him in this way. So we've got that. Interchangeable hands. We went all out and I'm glad I did because, like I said, this took 18 months to get to. So by the time you're done with it, you want to have something really nice. So this is Sir Jason's shield right there. Sir Jason is the one that broke my prototype. I got to glue them back together. Oh, BGD says, great looking rabbit. Thank you. Now, so this is the bottom of the surcoat. Now, not in the correct material. This is the hard material, but you can see what it looks like here. His belt And then he's going to have 2 other parts right here that's going to allow him to sheath his sword and dagger. And that's an upgrade from this prototype right here, because this prototype doesn't have any ability to carry his weapons. And that became important to me and Adrian as well, because you've got all these neat weapons, but what are you going to do? He needs to be able to carry them, keep them on the figure. So that was our solution for that. All right, there's the body. That is Sir Boar's body right there. That's Sir Boar's shield. Okay, here is the male mantle, or actually it's a whole coif. This is one of my favorite knightly looks, when you've got the surcoat on, and then you put the coif on over it, and you've got the big broad mantle that comes down, like the male mantle that kind of comes, it needs to be longer, so it comes to the shoulder, so it's not real small. It looks kind of stupid if it's small, I think, but when it lays all over the shoulders and over the surcoat, I love that look. And so that's what I brought over to the rabbits, so that this goes, like this, so that you've got the look of the male over their surcoats if you want it. But this is flexible. So anything black here is the flexible material. So that's what's being evaluated here. So that right there will also be flexible. That way it won't interfere with posing battle poses and things like that. Trey says, good morning. These look great. Thank you. Thank you. Andrew says, seems silly to complain about too much, but I don't like it when dolls come with more accessories than they can carry or store. Well, that was kind of our thinking as well. Now, there's going to be some extra, well, with these, there will be like extra hands. You can swap out their hands. You'll be able to swap out some ears. So there will be some accessories that will be available to you that they won't be carrying. But at least when you're playing with them, their weapons and things like that will be on them. Anything they would be carrying with them would be on them. Here is another body. That is Sir Jason's body. Looks like, okay, so here we've got an arm. So we can take a look. This one is already built. I'm going to have to do some assembly here, it looks like, overall. But okay, but here is our arm assembly. So we can see we twist here at the bicep. Well, we go even further up. Of course, we've got the disc articulation here for the shoulder. We've got the bicep that spins right here. His shoulder flexes, his elbow flexes. And then we move down to the wrist, and we pivot at the wrist. And then also, this has got a gun hand in. So his wrist will also flex back and forth this way. So people have asked, isn't it going to articulate? Yeah, it's going to articulate. So, and thank you so much, Adrian. Adrian was actually kind of not only the artistic sculptor for them, but also kind of the engineer of all of how this was going to work. Because I was wondering how that was going to work too. I was like, gee, how am I going to have to design all of these points of articulation and things like that? And I really don't know anything about that, but Adrian does. So he, because he has done this for multiple toy lines. And so he was just able to do that, which is what made all this possible. If I had to come up with something from scratch, that we never would have gotten it. So here's another arm assembly right here. And I don't think we're going to have enough parts for 3 complete rabbits, but they said that they prototyped all parts necessary for all 3 rabbits. Some of the rabbits used the same parts. Like, for instance, these arm assemblies. I mean, that's the same arm for all 3 knights. Green and Blue Productions says, hi, Heath. Congrats on getting this far. Also, they are looking good. Thank you. Thank you. BGD says, awesome attention to detail. You definitely put a lot of thought into these designs. Bravo. Yes, I did. I'm putting a lot of thought into all parts of Ravivania and Theophany, but they are all a lot of work. That's why, you know, if you want to do something, might as well go ahead and get started on it, because everything takes a long time. So we also have alternate heads here. So this is the Great Helm, because I also like this look. So obviously we've got, and I'm sure it's in here someplace, but obviously we're going to have the rabbit with his helmet off here. But I love, partially inspired by the old Ivanhoe show. Uh-oh. You can still hear me, I know. Let me see if I can fix this camera. I don't know why it goes down all of a sudden. There we go. Ivanhoe, I like it when they're wearing great helms for jousting. And so this is their look when they're wearing their great helms. And then we will have ears and helmets and things like that to go, or the plumes and things like that to go in there as well that we're going to find. So you can have them ready for infantry combat with their helmet off, or when they're just walking around the castle, or when you get them ready for the joust, you can put on their great helms. The Nose Plays. Hey, Greg says, congrats, man. Keep moving forward. I am. Got to keep moving. Got to keep moving. Green and Blue Productions asks a great question. Do you have a price target audience yet? They look premium. Well, okay, so price I don't have yet, because based on all of this, then I'll find out what the manufacturer is going to cost to produce, or going to charge in order to produce them. And that also predominantly, or a part of that always relies on how many are produced. And like, you have to produce a lot of them to really start getting, breaks. But that's why in the beginning, if we do like a test run of some of these knights, they'll probably be produced in a very low quantity, so they'll be more expensive. But I'm hoping that if we do like a test whole production run, and then people like them and they're interested, we can bring out more of them and order more of them and bring the price down. But what that price exactly is right now, I don't know. You are right that they look premium. And that was one of the things that, so they are going to be premium. And that was kind of, excuse me, that was just something that kind of evolved over this project, because originally, I wanted them to be something that's played with, that people can enjoy. But on the other hand, like I said, I'm only doing this once, going through this whole process to bring these through once. And so my thought was, well, let's make them the best that we can be. And this is what we ended up with. And I'm really happy with what we ended up with as far as their design. So yeah, that means they're going to be more premium figures, but I'm really hoping that they're not so premium that they're not something that's actually practical to buy for children to play with. That's the goal. Adrian says, it was great working with Heath. If we had an idea, even a crazy idea, it was given real consideration. If we had to backtrack to make an improvement, we did. We both wanted these to be awesome. Yep, we did. And they're going to be. It seems crazy how long it's taken to get from, well, even the lookbook to here. And there's still some that we've got to finish. So I haven't forgotten about that. But doing everything I can do right now. Here's the head. Okay. Like, we had to basically prototype these things 3 times. The manufacturer, not even including my prototypes, the manufacturer did stuff that we were not happy with. That took a lot of time. And then they actually said before these that this is actually their second round of prototypes, because their first round, they said, was not right and they were not happy with it. And so this is their second round. So it just takes a long time. So here we got, so you can see here the way the ear moves. And this is so cool. To be able to position, this is the first time I've ever been able to position the ears, because on mine, the ears are just glued in. But, I love this part. And I think I remember thinking, boy, this would be cool. but I didn't want to ask about it. And then Adrian was like, we should make their ears move. And I was like, yes, we should. Yes, we should. So because you can't have rabbit action figures without posable ears. I think that's going to be able to give them a lot of different emotion and feeling if you want to pose their ears, with the interchangeable ears and, how they're feeling. I think that being able to convey emotion with the ears is going to be really neat. So that's the first time I have seen that. Green and Blue says, Green and Blue Productions. Thanks. Sounds good. Oh, and look, we have the porn bot here. So we need to integrate the porn bot into the show. So when the porn bot shows up, it's a good time to breathe and take a sip again. All right. Yes, the ears. It's so fantastic. They're so fantastic. And I like that. I like how they just came out right there. Austin says, good morning. I'm so late, but this morning was a good morning. Well, I'm glad to hear it. This has been a good morning over here, too. You may want to go back and check out some of these because this is looking fantastic. I'm really excited about this. Oh, everybody loves the ears. I'm so glad we did that. I love the ears. Retro Nerd Girl says, what a cool feature. The ears. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So we've only got one body here. So this is the whole body assembly. So the main, okay. And it's got, it's got Merrick's body here. Okay. I see what's going on. So this is the fully assembled body. Okay, and you can also see that unlike over here, we've got this piece here. So we've got a neck flex as well. Oh, Trey, the ears are so good. I'm so happy that everyone likes them. They're so great. So you can see here the difference in the material. So, but okay, we do have neck flex as well. So we can go up and down with his head. We've got rotation here. This is the soft, his surcoat down here is soft, so it's not interfering with posing and movement. And also, of course, it's slit. So when he gets on a horse, or not on a horse, when he gets on his mount, horse would be too big. He'll be able to sit down on it, and that won't interfere with anything. He's got a tail, his tail back here. And now here you can see, the plug. So that's how he worked that. So that's his male right there. And then here are the sheaths. So let's check out that. So this each one of the knights is going to come with a dagger and an arming sword, and then they're also going to have their specialist favored weapons as well. So this is the arming sword, and this is the dagger that they will all have. And then Sir Merrick will come with this sword as an addition. Sir Jason carries the great sword, and then Sir Bors carries the axe. But let's see here over here. So if they're right-handed, then sword goes right there. And then dagger goes right there. How about that? We didn't go with the full sheath because it's too large. So this is the compromise here. Because yes, I know it looks like the blade's exposed, but this is one of those things that's a compromise. I've got. Oh. Well, those took a nosedive. These figures right here. Let me pull. Like this is from the Game of Thrones line. And Jamie does have a scabbard here that you can, fully contains the sword. But especially at like the scale to look at something with these rabbits, it's too large. It got out of scale. It's not that. I didn't like the look of it. I wasn't really happy with that. I think it's cool that you see the whole scabbard here, but in order to make it functional, it wasn't looking right. So this was our compromise, that they can carry it, but we don't have to worry about an oversized scabbard or something like that. Andrew says, glad these toys are coming along. They look great. Good job. Thank you. Austin says, I may be getting a new car this weekend, and these figures look good. Congrats on the new car. Oh yeah, I was. Yep. Let me go here. Trey says they should ride the honey badgers. LOL. And Adrian says, plus they work with the axe too. Right. So that was where I was going next. So Sir Boars here. This should work. Because another advantage of going with this technique right here is that Sir Boris can also carry his axe. So if you've got a guy with an axe, or you got a guy with a mace, or you've got a guy with some other type of weapon, if it were just unique to the sword, then they wouldn't be able to carry that, and that was also giving us problems. But yep, so that works. So if you want them to carry an alternate weapon, they can carry an alternate weapon as well. So then moving down here, we get to the feet articulation, or the whole leg assembly here. So the legs move this way, they move this way. We get to the knee joint here. We get to the ankle joint here. And then also the toe joint, which is so fantastic. The toe joint's really going to help out because they've got such big feet, which are great for standing them up and things like that. But also, I think in order to get their feet back into action poses and things like that, to be able to bend there at the toes, it's going to be able to get his, be able to let him get his feet back and get into a really cool action pose. And then we also have plugs, like locations on the base of the feet, so that if later on down the road there's some type of peg or something we want them to stand on some kind of set, that's way down the road. But and not even on the docket, but it's there if we ever need it. Let's see what is inside this ball. Let's see. That looks like everything here. It is. Andrew says, hoping that the head joint is standard to Hasbro, as I will enjoy popping a rabbit head on my G.I. Joe's, Marvel Legends, and Star Wars figures. We'll have to try that out. I'm not sure. We will see. So this looks like a whole bunch of little things. Oh. These are the helmet crests. So this is the helmet, and then every knight has a different crest to go on the helmet when they are on the tourney field. So we've got the this is the Phoenix right here. We've got a dragon here. Oh, I see. Okay, so that's another part. It would make sense that would be cast like that. So we've got the dragon here. Keep him together. And there we go. So we got helmet with the dragon on it. I think that's pretty cool. And then we also have a Hydra. So that was done in 3 different parts as well. But there we go. So we also have Hydra. So 3 different knights, also 3 different helmet crests. And then, of course, you can put the ears into here. Okay, so it's good. There we go. So, he pulls his helmet or his ears through his helmet. That way you can still hear. So there you go. But it's also good that you can remove the ears from the helmet. So I was thinking if you've got him on display or something like that, and his helmet sitting beside him, it doesn't have to look like he's got a head like inside the helmet. You can pop those off. Because I was thinking that you could display him, and if he had his helmet sitting there beside him, like on a display on a stand before he goes into joust. All of mine had their ears glued in, so it looked like there was a head inside. But you'll be able to remove those. Well, I like what I am seeing here. I'm missing. Let's see. Oh, okay. So this one that broke, this one right here, is sword hand, because we were looking at the different articulation here, and I mentioned that the wrists have the articulation that moves this way. Well, if you've got a sword, you want the wrist to move this way, and so that's why we have different hands that you can put in. Because if they're holding swords, then you want to have this hand right here, and you probably can't see, but the articulation disc is rotated 90 degrees from gun hand. So you'll be able to swap these in and out and get the right wrist articulation for what you want. Austin says, I am loving that stained glass playmat. This is called, playmat is called Transcendence of the Traveler, and it was done by David LaRocca. I like it too. I thought it would make a cool background. It might be too busy, but I think it's pretty cool. Wow, looks so good. Green and Blue says. Trey says, did I miss it, or will they not have shields? Nope, they've got shields. They're sitting right over here. They all come with heater shields. So every night right here. There they are. They've got their coat of arms, their device on it. And then they hold it back there. So, yep, they all come with shields. All right. Well, there's still more for us to talk about here, but I am very happy with what I see here. And, of course, I'm going to go over this in a lot more detail. And then, Adrian, I'm going to contact you as well so that we can go over it in detail and make sure these are exactly what we are looking for and they're doing what we want to do. I think they are now. So we will do that in more detail, but I'm very happy. I'm very happy to have finally gotten this far. I think they are super cool. Coat of arms is almost invisible unless you bring it in the camera. Well, no, that won't be the case. I mean, it stands up. It's textured. It stands up. You're going to be able to see it. And then plus, none of this is colored yet. So especially once they're colored, then they'll be there. Have I tried popping the weapons in their hands yet? No, I did not. Let's see about this. Here's this dagger. Hopefully I can do that. Ooh. There is. Let me not do that and force anything right here on camera, because there is supposed to be more flex in the hands, and right now, there is no flex in that hand. So that actually makes me wonder: is this orange the actual material? It may not actually be, because there needs to be some flex here in this material, and I am sure they know that. So this is extremely flexible rubber material. This is very hard material, which I didn't think about when I'm looking at the shields and all of that. But we do need some additional flex in their hands. And so I will talk to them. It feels like it might be a little bit more stiff than the final stuff is supposed to be. I'm going to ask about that. Adrian says that's probably resin still. Yeah, it probably is. So we're probably looking at the two different colors are indicating the two different types of material, but it's probably not final material. It kind of feels like resin. It's probably, yeah. So I bet that's not the actual plastic. Trey says, are these going to be made for a buyer to paint? Nope, they're going to come painted. Because the next step after this, all this is approving all of the parts and pieces. And then also which material they're going to be made from. So yeah, I guess these are resin, so it's not the final material. But the harder plastic will be everything that's orange here. The soft material will be everything that's black. Once all of these pieces are approved, they will also do a painted and colored prototypes of them. They said that was the next step after this. And so, for instance, this is one of my prototypes that is not articulated. This is Sir Boars, so I know how they're going to look. So this is how he will look. Sir Merrick lost his arms over here. I got to repair my prototypes. But Sir Merrick is our red knight. So here is what he will look like. And then Sir Jason is the one that was shattered. But you can see Sir Jason in plush form. What's the easiest one for me to get to without knocking down over all of my figures? We've got a prototype of Sir Jason in plush form. And so Sir Jason will be the purple knight. And so this is what he will look like. BGD, has your manufacturer given you specifications on how many plug-and-play swap cycles your interchangeable parts are rated for in different materials and for different articulation methods? I don't have information on that, but I can find out. That's something interesting to ask for. We will find out. All right. So I'm excited. Let's see. We got enough time to take a look at the lookbook and what I was trying to actually, like the initial thing. This is a video. This is a material that I need to post later. But if you're interested, plush characters look awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I think they came out very well too. Those are manufacturers' prototypes that are ready to go. But I haven't been able to put them into production either. There's been so many different projects that have gotten sort of jammed up. And that's one of them. So those are ready to go. Retro Nerd Girl says, this action figure is fabulous. The attention to detail is what makes it so special. You and Adrian Melton did a fantastic job. Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, because it takes so long, make something that's going to wow people. That was our goal. Make it premium, make it the best we can make it so that when people see it, they go, oh, wow, that's cool. So let me see if I can find some information on the lookbook, because the very first thing I did was create the lookbook about what the intention was. Let me bring that up. And I need to post this material separately. Like I said, I've been trying to figure out the best way to run YouTube for a long time. And I think it's a lookbook. Come on. And so I know I've juggled things around between channels, but I think I got it now. Okay, right here. How do you make action figures? Okay, let me bring this up so you can see what the original thing was. Let me bring down auxiliary camera. Action figure. I want to come in here. Like this is the original assembly and kind of explanation for this. Trey says, the lookbook, is that the SOW, statement of work? No, it's a collection of different images that I pulled around from, because there was no concept art yet. So like my initial idea was writing out what I wanted the concept of Rabavania to be, because that was very important to me to like get their look right and what I was trying to convey, and then also trying to bring pictures and imagery from existing things as examples of the kinds of look and feel. In RPGs, I'm always talking about the feel of the game, right? Well, here, the feel of the world is obviously very important to me too, because I'm big on that. So I know the jammed up projects thing, I have like 5. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they all start breaking loose and you're like, oh my God. So this is, can I swap this around? Let's see. So this is world, and then specifically the Rabbit Knights, because we're going to be bringing out Rabbit Knight action figures, and they're first up. So I'm going to bring up the lookbook on the screen here. So this is the first. Matt asked a great question. Are you having any of the Raccoon Warriors made? And the main bad guys for the rabbits are the Raccoon Warriors. And so, yes, I mean, obviously I want to make them. We have them as well. I've got them as my prototypes right here, but this is going well, obviously, this is taking a long time. So right now, the manufacturer isn't working with the raccoons. The original idea was when I submitted to the manufacturer to, hey, can we see if we can do this and run a test run of just one night? And originally they said, yes, we can do that, but that ended up being more complicated. So I would love to be able to bring out the knights and the raccoons at the same time. But on the other hand, it's taking a while. So if this goes well, then we will roll into the raccoons and they will be next. Now, whether they're all released at the same time or if we can bring out the rabbits first and then the raccoons follow up shortly thereafter or something like that, I'm not sure. I know Adrian loves the raccoons, and I do too. Especially we've got some raccoons. We've got rabbits that you haven't seen too that I haven't had prototyped back here. So there's a lot of stuff. We created a lot of action figures. Page of the lookbook, and here I'm trying to establish some basic ideas of things that have inspired me and generally kind of convey the kind of theme and appearance that I want as I've been thinking about the development of Rabavania. And of course, you can see down here in the corner, He-Man. I was a huge He-Man fan as a kid, and so I really do want to create something kind of in that vein, because I'm thinking that the very bright, colorful, animated look would be very good for Rabavania, because it's geared for a younger audience. But I'm also thinking about things like G.I. Joe. My brother was a huge G.I. Joe fan. So that style of animation, I think, is going to work well for Tales of Rabavania. I also put up here Disney's Robin Hood. I watched that a lot as a kid, and of course, here you've got examples of anthropomorphized animals. You know, obviously animals acting as humans in a medieval environment, and of course, I love what they did with that show. So that's kind of also an inspiration for Rabavania and what we're doing. I put the Dragon Prince up here. I watch the Dragon Prince now on Netflix, and I'm a fan of it. You know, this is kind of a more updated, modern version of these things. You know, He-Man and then Disney's Robin Hood, the animation. I know people go back and forth on some of the animation in it, but I'm not worried about that. You know, the general idea of what they put forward in the Dragon Prince is something that I would like to draw upon for the Tales of Rabavania. I put this together before the new He-Man came out on Netflix that was done by Kevin Smith. And of course, I know people have lots to say about that, but I think one thing that we can say is that it looks fantastic. Of course, it was done by Powerhouse Animation. And so if I were putting this together again, now, I would definitely include some of the Powerhouse animation for He-Man and some of their other shows, because I really like that look. I want to stay with the Western animation kind of style. I don't want to go into anime with Tales of Rabavania. So all of those kinds of things I'm drawing on. In the center here, I know I'm kind of going backwards across the screen, here are some ideas of some cartoon rabbits that I found online that I liked, but I think that they're a little bit too cute for Rabavania. I don't want Rabavania to be cute. I do want it to be geared for a younger audience, but, you know, when I was a kid, I liked some of the more serious He-Man shows. That was like for the first 6 or something from the first season. Those are some of the ones that I remember the most, and they were the more serious and dark kinds of stories, and so I want to convey that and carry that along here in Rabavania. It's geared for a younger audience, but I still want it to be very serious and not cutesy. Over here, I've got 2 illustrations that were done in-house. The first one over here was done by Brian Colin, a friend of mine, and that's when I was trying to assemble perhaps some type of digital puppet to create for Rabavania, and I was trying to get maybe a body shape down. And so this is what we came up with for a potential Rabavanian body shape. I still think it's a little bit too cute, but I think it's definitely going in the right direction for what we're trying to produce here. And then in the center here, I have a rabbit riding a fox that I did, and this is based on some of the illuminations, the medieval illuminations. I think about them a lot. Retro Nerd Girl says, you can't go wrong with Motu as your inspiration. I agree. Lot, because you can see medieval illuminations where they've got rabbits with swords and axes and bows and arrows, and they can be in quite violent poses. And so I think about that a lot. That wasn't the original inspiration for the Tales of Rabavania, but when you see that, you're like, yeah, I want to carry around that kind of, you know, brutality. And so I took some of the medieval illuminations and tried to create this rabbit-wearing male riding this fox as if he were a knight. So this was, the general idea of the kinds of things I'm thinking about when I'm trying to. Green and Blue Production says, all good inspirations. Thank you. Create Rabavania. And I do put some information up here, about that I want it to have a very warrior look. I don't want it to be too cute, even though it's animated. And I do start to talk about the action figures themselves, because the first products that we're going to be creating here are the Tales of Rabavania action figures. And so I start to talk about the size, because that's important. So we're talking about a rabbit from their feet to the top of their head, not including their ears, being about 6 inches tall, to give sculptors an idea of what we're going to be doing. And also people who are designing packaging and things like that. What actually is it that we're trying to create? If you look up He-Man over here, you have any of those figures, He-Man is about 6 inches from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head. So comparable size there.
I think he's actually 5.5.
All right, let's go and take a look at what I've got for the Rabbit Knight. And that's what we're going to focus on here. So one character here I certainly want to create is the Rabbit Knight, and actually several Rabbit Knights, because if this is a story about gallant Rabbit Knights in combat, I want the Knights to be the hero of the story. And so I said he should be fully clothed in mail and wearing a surcoat in the style of the 13th century knights. As a hero, he should project charisma, chivalry, gallantry, and above all, bravery. I'm a huge fan of history. I study the medieval period a lot. I'm a big fan. And there are several different time periods that I really like. The 14th century, as far as the appearance of their armor, and also the 13th century. One thing that's very important to me for Rabavania, whether it's a show or an animation or an action figure or a game or whatever, is for it to feel very grounded. And that goes along with it not feeling cutesy. I want it to have a serious tone, and that means I want to be able to give it historical grounding. Sure, it's a story about medieval rabbits, but I want it to be grounded. This isn't a high fantasy story. I don't want to do oversized swords. I don't want to do crazy fantasy armor and all of that. That's not the kind of story this is. Low fantasy. Insofar as it's fantasy, I'm definitely a fan of the low fantasy genre. And so I wanted to situate the Tales of Rabavania in low fantasy, and I decided that the 13th century is the way to go. I have several different books. The Osprey books, I got tons of them sitting around, but I brought these over here. I like looking at the Osprey books. This one's talking about the English medieval knight, 1300 to 1400. Got all kinds of illustrations in it. But this one also I use quite a bit. Lewes and Evesham, 1264 to 65, the Barons' War. And you can see how these guys are dressed here on the cover. And I look at that a lot because I really love the style of the mail-clad knight wearing the surcoat with the with his heraldry on it. The 1950s Ivanhoe, I watched that a lot as a kid. I would say that was a major influence on me as a kid in my thinking about medieval styling. They were mail-clad, they were wearing the surcoats, all of their horses were wearing the barding. To me, it's a very classic knightly look, and I want to convey that inside the Tales of Rabavania. So even though the Rabbit Knight needs to be colorful, we want it to be colorful, we want it to fit the element of the world, he also needs to be very serious and have a deadly element about him. The story will deal with the fact that the knights are at their core warriors who are expected to not only fight the wars of their king, but also expected to protect rabbit warrens from natural predators. The knight would fearlessly do battle with a rattlesnake that might get too near the warren as if it were a dragon. So that kind of goes with the more serious element of this story. As I said, even though geared for a younger audience, I do want to definitely deal with what the knights are. And that is that they are killers, they are warriors. And so I want that to definitely be present in the story. The rabbits are going to have holes in their helmets, their ears can come out. That way you're not folding your helmet or your ears inside your helmet. The knights are going to wear white belts as a symbol of their station. I definitely want to draw out the knights as noble and something to be looked up to in the story. The great helm is decorated with heraldic crests with mantling off the back. I love that look, the great helm, especially like they put on in Ivanhoe with the crests and the mantling off the back. I think a classic knightly look. Most of the rabbits do not wear shoes or boots on their big rabbit feet. But the knights may wear mail on their legs. I think that the rabbit feet are something that's going to definitely clue you in as rabbit, thinking about from a story perspective and illustration. You've got the ears, and you've also got the feet. So in some cases, we'll probably armor the feet, but I think to clue you in as a rabbit, we might have a lot of unarmored feet. So I said, as an action figure, I want him to be 6 inches tall. I want the head to be replaceable so that you can go with a helmet or unhelmeted head. This was a call early on. I really wanted to be able to do that. Of course, you think you could just put a helmet. Andrew asks, we may have discussed this before, if so, I apologize, but did you read Mouse Guard or Mice Templar? I have not. I've not read either one of those. Now, wait, now Martin the Warrior, is that part of Mouse Guard? No, that's different. That's different. Redwall. That's the Redwall trilogy. I read Martin the Warrior, and in fact, I remember that coming out as it was not an inspiration for Rabavania, but I did read it later because as I was writing out my Rabavania stories longhand in 6th grade or something like that, later as I was walking through a store, I saw Martin the Warrior, and I was like, oh, that's kind of what I'm doing. So no, Mouse Guard or Mice Templar are not ones that I'm familiar with. Helmet on like a great helm, but looking into situations of creating the action figure, probably a better idea just be able to replace the head, put on an entirely new head that's with the helmet on, and then the helmet off. And then sword and kite-shaped shield, and then also be capable of riding a fox, if we get to do a fox, as if it were a horse. And then I've got some illustrations here of the kind of thing I'm looking for. I can come up with all kinds of knights from different books that kind of look like this, but you can definitely see the mail-clad element here with the surcoat that's brightly colored. I think very heroic. I love this look. And of course down here I've got the Accolade, which is completely classic to me. I've got that up here in the office. Probably see it up there. Yep. That I love this. There we go. I absolutely love the Accolade, and that's why I keep it up here in the office. There's so much to say about that illustration, and probably I'll do a whole nother video on it. But here, the knight being dubbed a knight, the squire being dubbed a knight by the damsel here, I think is very powerful. It's very evocative. I keep it up here in my office, and I would say that's a heavy influence on Rabavania, and that's why... that's one of the reasons why I chose this time period for Rabavania, because I just love seeing, his mail-clad armor, or his mail armor with his surcoat and everything like that. So that's starting to develop the lookbook for Rabbit Knights. Well, that was kind of neat for me to rewatch. It's been a long time since I've watched that. It's been a long time since I've shot that. So I need to, I'll do a little bit of a re-edit for that, and I'm going to post that here on this channel again. So if anybody's looking for it at some time, like I'm going to have a playlist about building Rabavania. So that will go back on there. But yeah, that was the initial idea. that was how this all started. So, and now we're here. Green and Blue says, this is really interesting to me as I don't use lookbooks and like to write like if I'm remembering an old tale, which I do use reference and art and getting things right. Use reference for art and getting things right. Yeah, this is just the way that I jumped in and did it. I thought this would be the easiest way to try to communicate my ideas to the next step is concept art. The next step we went to is concept art. And so I'll show the video on that later. But this process seemed to work. This process seemed to work, especially since there are a lot of things to do. We had experience trying to create the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows miniature line when I was working with David at Infinite Black, and that never really got going. And so I used that experience and why did that project really not happen the way we wanted it to happen? And so used all of that information to try to develop a structure for making this project happen. So yeah, very cool to see your early development process. Yeah, it was fun for me too. So, you can follow through and see what we go through here. Trey says, you should read Mouse Guard. It will be a great inspiration, and Iron Claw RPG, Historia, and Paws and Claws will likely give you some great ideas. Mouse Guard, I know I need to read. I've seen I'm recalling what those pictures look like and things like that. And does it have an RPG? Yeah, I do. Andrew says, we have a print of Accolade in our bedroom. Lots of pre-Raphaelites hanging up. Green and Blue says, I would love that. Maybe a world building stream. Well, we're supposed to be doing more world building on this stream. That was one of the things I wanted to do, and I was trying to bring in like world building Wednesday, but I haven't gotten on a system yet because I've got I've had other things going on, but I need to get on that because I've got, if you go to www.talesofrabavania, isn't it Tales of Rapavania? There's nothing there yet, but they allowed me to hook up the World Anvil stream, not World Anvil stream, World Anvil site there. So I've got a World Anvil for Tales of Rapavania, and I also have a World Anvil for Theophany. And so part of the things that we're supposed to be doing on this stream, we just haven't really gotten to it yet, is building out the world on the stream. So to have some world building there as well. I wanted to work on the RPG first because I was like, well, I want to have some core rules to potentially work with if we're going to do an RPG in either of these worlds as well. So lots of things happening. Lots of projects, just trying to get to them. Trey says, I love the Mouse Guard comics and the RPG. And Adrian said, the concepts that we ended up with in the end were fantastic. Yes. Oh, Discord. Trey, excellent. Thank you. If you are here and you want to be part of the Ravenkeep Discord, let me grab an invite right now. Dropping Discord in a link to the Discord in the chat right now. We would love to help you. We are trying to create a positive and constructive place for everyone in the Geekverse. So that's the link to the Ravenkeep Discord server. So we would love to have you there. All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun. If you so there's that, and then there's also the story. So I was working on that this morning too. I've been back and forth with stories as well. I was writing a bunch of stuff that's not working, so I had to scratch that. I'm going to return to that. It was stuff about the rabbits' mythology and their religion, but that had people look over that and it just was not working. So I said, all right, they were like, you can't release that yet. See, I was expecting to be able to start releasing some Rabavania stories, particularly like the history and mythology of their world, of one of their great rabbit heroes, but not working. So had to work on a new story, but this one is in the main timeline. I was working on this morning. I'm talking to Brianna about it this afternoon. I got another meeting on Friday about this story, and it's going really well. So that's all of the scenes that I've got so far that's sitting in the main timeline and does actually feature some of the characters that we are making action figures for. So that is also a plus. So I'm feeling really good about that, even though it's still just in index card form. But getting the story down right, because I've written so many things that ended up not being used or not published yet, or not actually what we needed in the end or something like that. So now what I'm doing is I'm making sure that story is exactly what I need and that story is going to work. And then I will sit down and I will write it. I'll do my own personal NaNoWriMo or something like that and start trying to get some stories done as well. But I'm glad I went ahead and started on the action figures because, by the time stories start coming out, like this is already 18 months into action figure process, right? So everything takes a long time. All right, if you are new here, we close out by trying to plan our day here. I need to look at my day and try to be productive between now and the wind down live stream. What do we need to do during the day in order to actually accomplish what we want to accomplish and say that, hey, this would be a good day at the end of this? So what we do in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the live stream is try to plan our day for extreme geek productivity. So if you need a productivity method, you can join us with this one.
Well, I manage my department, and I've been doing that for several years now.
Your department's just you, right?
Yes, Jim, but I am not easy to manage.
If you would like to join in on being more productive with me and everyone else here on the stream, but are in need of a system to help you out, here's an easy system that you can adopt and that I recommend. Grab a sheet of paper. I find that an index card folded in half is the perfect size for this. But if you don't have an index card, no problem. Any scratch piece of paper will work just fine. Just grab it and a pen or pencil. Think for a moment and come up with the 3 things that if you were to accomplish them today, you would know and feel that it was a great day. I bet you can take a breath right now and think for just a moment, and you will know what those 3 things are. We're going to call these 3 items our big rocks. Our objective is to move these big rocks during the day. Now, don't make the rocks too big because then you can't move them. Rocks that are too big to move in about a third of a day, we call those huge rocks. Moving the huge rocks is our major multi-day goals in life. But in order to move them, we have to break up the huge rocks into big rocks that we can actually pick up and move around. But we don't want these rocks to be too small, because although small rocks are easy to move, we don't feel sufficient accomplishment when we move them. Moving the big rocks makes us feel accomplished because they advance us toward our objectives in significant ways. You decide what size tasks are small, big, and huge rocks for you. If you get all 3 of these tasks done, then go ahead and add a 4th or a 5th big rock. But don't do that unless you've finished your big 3. You want to look at your list at the end of the day and feel success and accomplishment. You can use your phone for this if you want to, but I think a sheet of paper is better because then you don't have to pick up your phone to check your list of big rocks and potentially get sucked into all the distraction on your phone. The phone will also let you put 20 or 30 things on the list, no problem. Half an index card will keep this tight and focused. I know there are dozens of things on my to-do list on my computer, and that's too much. This method allows me to extract what I really need to do during the day and focus on that. If you're already using a productivity method that you like, no problem, use that. Do what works for you. Now let's write down our big rocks and try to get them done between now and the wind down live stream in the evening. That's where we check in, see how we did, celebrate success, and see how we can improve tomorrow. If you need encouragement during the day, look to the Raven Keep Discord server. It's a great and constructive community. Let's take over the Geekverse. Oh. No sound here? Muted? Now am I good? Probably better now. So we were saying that probably better now. Just saying Matt needs to program. BGD, have a good one. Yeah, we were talking. I was just talking about how YouTube and DeviantArt. Well, my philosophy now has been talk about stuff. So that's why I've been talking about Rabivania here. So, okay, great. Keith says Keith has confirmation. So, all right. I'm going to make this short and quick for myself as well. I'm going to bring up, I guess I'll add the auxiliary camera to the stream. I have been trying to work through big rocks that I have not completed in other days. I have been scheduling YouTube videos, so there will be clips and things like that, but also some extra stuff like that thing about the Rabbit Night lookbook that are going to be coming out. So if you see a topic go by, it should be easy to determine with the thumbnails that I've developed whether or not it's a morning grind clip or it's a wind down clip. We've had some fantastic discussions in the wind down that I think need to be released. So those are starting to come out now. So you can see if you missed one, well, you might want to see it. Otherwise, if you're always, if you know you're always there, well, then maybe you can skip it. But those are coming out. I do have to schedule some more, and then I'm going to clip some more from the morning grind here. So that's still a big thing right here. I need to get email out, and then I've got to reach out to some more people about the morning grind here, so we can get some other people on our side. So, all right, that's what I'm working on, and I got to go over this in more detail. I'm going to reach out to the manufacturer, let them know they know that it was received, but I want to go over all this in detail. But my first thinking here is this is pretty good. All right, everyone, have a great day. I will see you later on tonight for the wind down.